episode is super important because if you are a seasoned business owner, if you are someone who's trying to start a business soon, or you are a business owner that has been open for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, this episode is for you. I'm going to be interviewing Marra. She is a brand designer. Her company is called Zenith Creative & Co. And let me tell you something. These are the do's and don'ts of branding. And you're going to thank us later because this is something that I hope it reaches the right people. Welcome to the Teresa podcast. This is a no BS entrepreneurship and marketing branding podcast for business owners and entrepreneurs like yourself.
Yes. So my name is Marra. I am a strategic brand designer. Like Teresa said, I'm the owner of Zenith Creative Co., which is a brand design agency that specializes in helping women-owned small business and entrepreneurs elevate their brand, grow their credibility, find their ideal audience, boost sales, just overall grow confidence in their brand. So that's what I'm all about. I work with people from all different industries, fields, and I specialize in having a strategic approach for designing your brand so that every design element has a purpose behind it, so that we're not just creating something that looks good, but has a purpose and, solves a problem for you.
I love that.
Thank you.
And we are literally telling you this because I know for a fact, or we know for a fact, that when it's time to create a logo, when it's time to create your website, when it's time to do these things, what is the thing that people love to do? They go to Fiverr or they go to, I don't even know the other ones, and they pay a couple of dollars. They're not happy with it.
It's stressful. The branding element of your business is stressful because it's the first impression you have. And it can be stressful to think about where you should put your investments when opening a business for the first time. You don't know if it's going to fail. You don't know how it's going to go, how people are going to perceive it. So a lot of people take that free or budget way out just for a little bit of security, for sure.
And I think one of my biggest things is how amateur one can look. That's my thing. I think that's been like my word for like the last 2 months.
Yeah.
You will look amateur. I'm telling you right now, you can back me up with that because I know you'll look amateur. And it's not because we're trying to tell you like, okay, sell this or, or buy from us or whatever the case may be, but it's simply what you choose and how you go about it. And especially in this industry, the more you pay, the better it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's
So
all about
if
the
you're
value. It's all about the value that you have about how much do I value that when I show up as a brand, that people are going to look at this as a high quality brand. How much do you value people feeling that your brand is worth buying from is really the decision that you have to make. And if you don't understand that that first impression lies within your branding, it doesn't lie within the quality of the t-shirts you put your logo on or the boosted posts that you put on Facebook. You have to start at the beginning, and a lot of people don't really understand that, so they end up investing a lot of money pushing out a brand with a face that they don't feel confident with, that doesn't really express the quality of their brand that they're delivering to people. So it may seem like an easy way out because it's inexpensive, but it really not only costs you more money down the road to fix that problem, but it's pushing out a brand that you're not proud of. So it's just working against you and wasting your money.
Absolutely. And the thing is like, okay, I'm not getting any sales or nobody's even going to my website or nobody's buying from me. Those are one of the reasons why.
Yeah.
And so from a brand designer's perspective, that is strategic. What you do is not just, okay, I'm going to create a logo or I'm going to design a website for you. Let's get behind of who your target audience is. So one of the questions that I wanted to ask you for sure is let's talk about logos. First of all, let's talk about logos. And in simplest terms, please tell me the do's and don'ts right off the bat from all the hundreds of people you've worked with. Off the bat.
So From a designer standpoint, there's so much I could tell people to create the perfect logo for your business. But truly, if you are coming out the gate, you don't have money at all to invest in some sort of impression, which you probably want to set that aside. But let's say you're in a position where you cannot do that. The very basics that you need to understand to be able to present a logo that people will even look at, just not even completely.
Yeah.
The number one thing is it has to be legible. And that sounds like common sense. A
Oh.
lot of the times we're seeing these generated logos, right? And people are putting it up on their screen and it's a big screen and they're looking at it, it's huge. And they're like, wow, there's all this detail. It's so this, it's so that. Look at all these swirls, all this. And then you put the logo on what you need to put the logo on, like a tag or a hat or a business
Or
card.
a
And you're
favicon.
looking at it and you're like, oh, wait, what's going on here? So legibility is crucial. It's the first step because if they can't read it, they can't interact with it. Also, on top of that, the longer it takes someone to understand something, the less of a chance it is that they're going to stick with whatever they have in their hand, or they're actually going to spend any time, or they're actually going to read it or spend any time on it. So it needs to be legible, whether it's the size of the wall in your room or if it's the size of a little logo you're going to put on a business card. It needs to be legible throughout all different formats. Swirly fonts and everything are fine and they're cool and they're different and they're playful, but if you can't read it, what's the point? That the whole
Right.
point is you get people to recognize your brand, to build brand recognition. If they can't even read it, where are you going with that?
Isn't that crazy?
Legibility is the number one rule. And along with that is just keeping it simple. Not, when you look
That
at
would literally go over people's head all the time.
well, some people see logos like Starbucks. Have you ever seen Starbucks' original logo? It looks like it was designed with a little graphite pencil and it's got all these little details, things like that. That was years ago. Marketing, branding, recognition is not like that anymore. We're scrolling, 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 and we need to be able to process and remember a symbol or a graphic or a font or a word quickly and easily. So you need to make sure that your branding is simplified, as simple as possible. It doesn't need to be simple to the point where there's no life to it, but it needs to be legible and simple so that we can actually process what that logo is. It's not a piece of art. There's a difference between logo design and art. Art is not the same thing as design. Design is there for a purpose. Art is there for you to look at and enjoy and feel something. A logo is not the same thing as art. So we need to be able to separate those two things. So becoming too illustrative or too detailed, it's going to work against you in the long run if you want to build a strong brand. If you want something that's going to look good in a frame on your wall, then, add as much
Art.
frills as you want. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think about glitter logos?
Oh, you know what? I hope I don't upset anyone saying this, but I feel the same way about glitter logos as I do like glitter tattoos, right?
Yeah.
Even tattoos, for example, you want them to be simplified because over time, you want it to be classical, you want it to be traditional, you want it to be timeless. The more you start adding details and glitter and shimmer and shine and shadows and gradients, you start pushing away from design and start pushing towards art. And it's no longer serving a purpose. It's now just there to be pretty. And,
Yeah.
I think, a little spark maybe in the logo or a little, star on the side, maybe, but adding glitter, it's not a craft. It's not a, craft you do at home. It's not an art project. It's something to represent the professionalism of your business. Now, if you
Absolutely.
have a business that sells glitter, then I don't know, maybe that would work well for you, but chances are you're not.
Yeah. And, I actually had this potential client. I don't want to say their names, but
Mhm.
she already had created everything on her own, everything. And that's one of the things that when people come to me as a brand strategist to help them make sales and just grow their brand and scale their brand. And then when I start taking things away, they're not happy about it. And one of the things was that she had a glitter logo Her website, her colors were pink, purple. So I asked her, who's
Mhm.
your target audience? When she said women 37 to like 48, something like that, I asked her. And then her prices, her prices, because another thing that, and I understand you don't know
Mhm.
what you don't know. And this is why there's people like us, and that's totally fine.
Yeah, yeah,
But I think common sense is it's a little common sense needs to be there. As a business owner, common sense, just like you have common sense in your everyday life, I think
yeah.
common sense also, because think about this, even though, I mean, you must know that my favorite color is pink. It is not anywhere to be found. Probably
Yeah.
this, but this is not even, I have no control over this. Okay. But think about it. If you are trying to attract a certain demographics of people, let's say 35 to 40 years old, 35 to 50 years old, you think 35 to 50 years old will be attracted to your pink website, your purple website, your glitter logo?
It's a
I
mature
asked,
audience. It's a
right.
mature.
And so I asked her, I was like, hey, so who's your target audience? And she explained that to me. And I was like, I don't think that's your target audience. Right now, who you're targeting is people that are from like 15 to 18 years old.
Shopping at Limited too, and Bobby
Right.
J.
And not
all that.
only that, her prices were like so she would sell sweatshirts and pants and custom
Yeah,
things like that. And they were $150, $200. And I was
not with
like,
that
do you
look.
think a
Yeah,
15-year-old would buy that? I don't
yeah.
think so.
If your
And
branding
so
does not look expensive or of high quality or does not match the price, it's going to turn off the people that are approaching your business because they're approaching her business thinking that it's affordable, it's playful,
right.
it's not necessary. It's not something necessary. It's not a luxury, right? And they're
Absolutely.
walking in and then they're seeing these prices and they're like, whoa, I wouldn't have even approached if I
That
knew
in
you'd be giving me,
the first place.
giving me prices like that. It's kind of like, imagine walking into Five Below and seeing prices that are $80, $90, or walking into like a Louis Vuitton type store and seeing things that are like 50 cents. It's confusing to the audience, it's confusing to your audience and breaks trust and understanding
And
and
the quality of your thing. You
the
might think
quality.
your
Yeah.
thing is like top
Yeah.
notch, but it's
Yeah.
all about psychology. I think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
something that will evolve all the time. Psychology, consumer psychology, how people perceive, how people pretty much compare you to the next person.
Yeah.
And so I think one of the things that a lot of business owners, when you're starting a business out first year, because I understand first year, you don't know what the heck you're doing. You don't know if you should even go
Risk.
with the type of logo that you have right now, which,
Yeah.
understandable. But having that mind of, okay, who the hell am I going to target? Who do I want my stuff to be purchased by? Because I know me personally, I want my stuff to be purchased by high end people that are not going to say no to me. All right. You
Yeah.
know what I offer, what I have, okay. But I also need to show that in my branding. And this is where you come in. And this is the strategic part.
Yeah. I think a big issue with
Yeah.
that is our own egos. I think that's an issue from the very beginning. So, for example, when we're doing our branding, we're sitting here and saying, "Oh, well, everyone could use what I have.
Oh,
Anyone can wear sweatpants, anyone can
yeah.
wear, anyone will use soap, anyone will buy this toothbrush, right? You can sit there and say that everyone could use every product ever, but if that was the case, branding wouldn't exist. There would be no target market, there'd be no market research. There's obviously, as much as we don't want to admit it, all of us fit into certain categories.
One of my favorite, yeah, one of my
Yeah.
favorite things in the store is that about, the toothbrush and things like that, the toothpaste. When you go to the toothpaste aisle, the $2, $1, all the way on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the expensive ones are all the way in the top.
And they
And
look
even
different
in
for a
and they
reason.
look yes, so
Yeah, they look
different.
different for a
Like,
reason. Yeah.
and I told my mom the other day, I was like, Mom, I use you as some people that I don't want to target. And I told her I was gonna say that. She's like, why? She's like, you think everything's expensive? The cheapest things like what was it, VO5, the hair wash, shampoo,
Oh,
and like
yeah.
I would not buy that. No
Yeah.
way. I just wouldn't,
Because you don't value things like that. So back then, they didn't think as much about the ingredients that were in something. Nowadays, we're constantly being pushed with this is the ingredients in this. You need organic, you need this, you need that. And the market has caught on to that, which is why all of these new brands that we're seeing look clean and fresh
Yeah,
and luxurious because we
it's
as buyers
simple.
are like, oh, it's cleaner, it's simpler, it's fresher, so it's better for me. And most people won't even flip over the package and read the directions because the branding does the talking for them. And that's the whole point of a successful brand is that it does all the talking for you. And that's why
Exactly.
one of the other points that I was going to make about what to do for your branding is to make sense for your market. It needs to make sense for your market. Okay. You need to be looking, not just sitting there and saying, well, what do I want? What's cool? What's hip? You need to also look at your competitors and say, what are they doing? How am I going to do it differently? And how am I going to do it better? How am I going to look more credible, more professional? How am I going to look more expensive, more worth the price that I'm listing this at compared to the price that they're listing that at? You need to look at your competitors. And if you're putting something on
100%.
that looks completely different, but still doesn't make sense for your market, then you're still not doing something wrong. It's not enough to just do something completely different that stands out. It needs to make sense. And that's why
Yeah,
strategy comes in. Every design element, every color you see on the shelf, every font you see at the shelf, every combination of these design elements were chosen to make you feel a certain way every single time. The second you see a box of toothpaste on the shelf, you are already making assumptions about that product. Is it clean? What are the ingredients? Is it worth the price that it is? Is it new? Is it old? Is it worth it? The second you look at a product, you're making those decisions in your brain that brand
absolutely.
that
Absolutely.
for you. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It needs to make sense for your market. So when you're doing your branding, you're starting off, look at people around you, not just as I want to be better than them, but you got to figure out what they're doing wrong or what you can do right.
Right. Absolutely. I think one of the reasons why a lot of people, um, and I would say first time, at their first 5 years, unless if you don't know about branding or marketing, things like that, they make the mistake of picking their colors, like you were saying, because they love it, because it's like their favorite, and think that that's what their product is intended. Like, okay, because I love pink, people are gonna
Yeah,
love pink
yeah.
too. Like, why not? You know?
Well,
But
it's definitely
that's
a ego thing. Yeah.
yeah. And so this is where I guess we come in, where we're trying to teach as much as we can. We're trying to educate as much as we can so they can understand, because right now somebody who's in the first year, they wouldn't understand to hire a brand designer. They wouldn't understand to hire a brand strategist, because why?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know what
You,
I want to do. I know what I need to do. But then the
yeah.
problem arises where they're not making any sales within a year
Well, that's the thing. It's
or
the
the
ego,
second year.
right? I'm going to make a product and it's a product that everyone needs. But here's the problem. Are there not multiple versions of your product already on the market? Already that have been around, that have already established trust, that have already shown up, that have already built recognition. You can't just appeal to everybody. You
Yeah,
can't, it's working against you. You need to find out, you need to be more than a product. You need to be a brand. And that's what makes people buy one product among the other. That's what builds
exactly.
communities.
Exactly.
Even something as widespread as Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola still has a targeted market of people. It doesn't mean that people outside of that audience or that
Can't
market
have it.
aren't going to buy the product or won't
Hmm.
like it or can't have it or won't use it. It just means that when you strategize your branding towards a specific group of people that really believe in and value what you believe in are as a brand outside of just that product, you build loyalty, you build community, you
Mm.
build lifelong customers, and you build people who are going to tell other people outside of that audience what you're about. And that's what I think is one of the most important things. So, yes, can everyone use socks? Yes, but your sock company needs to be different from the rest of the sock companies, because if it's not, then there's no reason for them to buy yours, especially if they're not the cheapest one out there. If you
Absolutely.
want to make a profit and you're not some
Absolutely.
like company that's just pumping out, socks on a robot. Like, you need to have a purpose and a reason other than just being a sock, right? So that's when we bring in human behavior, right? So are you donating a profit to to a charity? Is there something people are getting back from big, like buying your sock compared to other socks? Does buying your socks make them feel cooler? Is there something about the socks that's inspirational or motivational or makes them feel cooler or makes them feel more expensive, right? There needs to be some sort of emotion or reason for people to do that. And that's what branding is all about. It's about creating a connection and an emotion with design and the product. Like, you need to build some sort of connection, because if you don't, you're just a product on the shelf.
Right.
That's it.
And
And
yeah, and just for people who are watching that are, I like a little eager, like confused, how can I start building connection? Because one of the ways, for example, myself, I didn't leave my house till last year. Like, how
yeah,
can you
right.
build connection with people, so then for them to buy my thing, to, at whatever price that I'm setting it, however good or bad or better or different it may be, just understanding the different avenues that are there. So there are different avenues that you can use and you can do. So just not just like worry about, okay, how the hell am I going to do this? Because now I'm stressed,
Yeah,
Um,
you gotta dig into your why. You
yeah.
really have to dig into your why. Why I've had conversations with clients before, for example, you know, there was a client who sells candles, right? She sells no, not candles, I'm sorry, soaps. And when I asked her, why are you doing this? What are you doing the who for? Well, it's soap. People love soap. Okay. All right. Well, why did you start making these soaps? Well, I grew up on this hill, and me and my family, we used to go out and collect, elements from where we lived in the environment, and we all used to come together as a family and come in and make these soaps. And some of the ingredients are from where my family lives over in Hawaii, that they bring them over. And I'm like, whoa, give me the soap already. Like, now I want the soap. I didn't care about the soap before. Now I care about the soap because the soap has a story,
Let's
right?
go Brad story right there. We gotta do the Brad
That's, what
story.
I mean? That's I want that soap because your family's coming together, you're picking these things out in nature. I'm not buying a bar of Dove that's being pumped out of a machine, from God knows where. I'm sitting here and I'm something that was made from family, that was coming together with love and creating something, and connecting nature with family. Like, coming from Hawaii, like, oh my God, I can use ingredients from Hawaii. I've never been there before. And she's like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, why have you never talked about this? Like, I don't know any other soap company that's doing that, right? I don't know one that's doing that, or at least I haven't heard about it. They haven't told me yet, but you have an opportunity to sell more than just soap. So you have to dig down. Everybody started doing something for a reason.
Right.
We all started doing something for a reason. Something sparked that interest. Something's interesting enough to them to keep doing it and spend time on it and invest money in it and share and tell people about it and put hard work into it. There's a reason why you're doing it. You have to dig deep down. And I think the ego is telling us, oh, nobody cares. Stuff. It's just soap. Nobody cares about that. People
I think
care.
that's selfish, honestly.
Yeah.
I
And
think that's selfish.
that's why people don't share stuff on the internet, because nobody cares. Obviously, people care. I'm watching videos that are 5 minutes long of people talking about literally nothing,
Yeah.
because I want to connect, right? We want to connect with people, and that story allows for a connection. And although it may not connect with your neighbor, I guarantee you there's hundreds of people that it's going to connect with on some level. Because at some point, we're all connected. We all have really
Right.
similar experiences, even though we don't want to pretend that we do. So it's that ego block,
Yeah, but
let,
I also think the problem is that comparison.
oh my gosh, it's the thief. Oh
Comparison.
yeah, thief of joy.
Because you think like, okay, I'm selling soaps, but because I don't see any other company doing it, I can't do it because I need to make the amount of money or brand visibility that they're having. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, you cannot compare yourself to nobody. That's the number one thing I tell my clients all the time. Erase everything. Do not look at anybody else.
Yeah.
You are even if you sell the same thing as the next door neighbor,
Mhm.
you are different. Okay.
Yeah.
How are we going to make it different? With strategic brand strategy, right? And
Yeah.
brand design. But I think it's just asking those deep questions. This is why it's
Yeah.
important, as us to really understand our jobs and what we do.
Yeah.
Because if
Yeah.
you don't understand it, you'd be like, okay, sure, yeah, let's create a brand. And guess who's getting the what does that quote say? The shit end of the stick?
Yeah.
Is that how it goes?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the client. And then guess
Yeah.
what? What they don't get ourselves, who's the bad person? We
Yeah,
are. We
the
are.
thing is, those questions can be kind of uncomfortable at first, right? I think that's the difference between, we were just talking about the between designs and tattoos, right? For example, when you go to a tattoo artist, you shouldn't just walk in there and say, "This is what I want." Okay, this is what you're getting.
Right.
Okay, this is where I want it to go, right? It's their job to guide you. Oh, this is what you want. Well, because you want to hear, maybe we should adjust this a little bit for you, right? It's you're going for to them to guide you where
Expertise. Yeah.
your experts, right? So, when I take people through my brand strategy workshop, they get almost a little taken aback that the first three questions are about them, like them exactly, like them as a person, not what they're selling. It's them. It's why are you doing this? What inspired you to do it? What brought you to this point? And where do you want to see this? Where do you want yourself in 5 years in relation to this brand, right? Because their purpose is such a massive part of who they are as a brand and adds so much of like a human connection to their brand. And when I'm comparing small businesses and their competitors, one of the number one things that people are not doing is adding a human element to their brand. It's just a
Yeah.
product. It's just a product. It's just a thing on a shelf. There's no connection. There's no understanding. There's no
Right.
storytelling. And that's what we need. We're social creatures. We need to hear things to connect. And we're lacking that. So when you're trying to develop your brand, you kind of have to sit there and be a little vulnerable. Why am I doing this? What's the purpose of doing this? Because if you don't know, no one else is going to know
And
either.
you won't even know how to sell it, to be
How will you know
honest.
how to sell it? You
That's
won't.
literally what I still, I'm like, listen, the more I study brand strategy, okay, the more I deep dive, and I've been doing this for a good minute now.
Yeah.
The more I think about it, I'm like, if you don't know why you exist aside from making money, it's going to
Yeah.
be so difficult to even be creative enough to
Yeah.
think about how are you going to make your next sale. So difficult. And
Mhm.
so I guess my advice for people who are, wanting to start a business is don't go in for the money.
Yeah. Yeah. You need
Don't
to,
go, you can scale. Okay. You can scale, but going in for the money, like right from the get-go, because there's a lot of people like, oh, I'm gonna do ecom to make
Mhm.
money, or I'm gonna do drop shipping to make money, or I'm gonna do all these things on TikTok. I feel like we're like old school. We need to bring people back because the new AI money
Yeah.
will come faster and leave faster than it came.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
one of the things that people don't understand. And when it happens to them,
Yeah.
it's all these things like, okay, you really got to sit down. So yeah, that's crazy. And it's so interesting too. You saying how when you take your people, your your people pretty much through your brand strategy process, and they get kind of like stunned, like, oh shoot, it's about me, not about my product, not about my
Yeah.
service.
Yeah.
Hello, we have to
Yeah.
be able to connect. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. You have to be able to connect because people buy emotion. People don't even buy because they want it. They want it like, oh, because I connect with this. Like, I connect with this person for sure. Because right
Yeah.
now I can go and type brand strategist. I can type brand designer near me. You're gonna get a zillion
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
But this is one of the things that I say you have to build also your personal brand as a person that's giving the service, or as the expert, because now technically we're competing.
Yeah.
You're my
Yeah.
competitor, but we're
Yeah.
cool, we're cool, but
Yeah.
you have to be different. So for sure, I definitely agree with you
Yeah, branding's all about finding your people, as corny as it can sound, even if you are just selling candles, like you have to find your
It's not
community.
enough.
It's
Okay,
it's
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 not
really
enough.
not enough. Like here's the thing. Amazon exists. Like we are obsolete if we didn't
Ugh,
have connection. We would be obsolete. Anything you could possibly think of, open your phone, 20 minutes later, it's on the way to your house. So people need to have a
absolutely.
reason
It's
other
crazy.
than just the product to buy something. And that's just Amazon. There's thousands of people who do what it is that I do. But people come to me because they say, you know what? I've seen what you were talking about. I heard your story. I've heard what you do for people, and
Mm, doesn't that like,
it
doesn't
feels
like,
good,
yeah,
right? It
yes,
feels
yes.
good. And I think that's the beautiful thing about finding the right strategy and finding your audience is it's not just for them. It's for you too. Like I now, I used to when I first started off, and I didn't really have an audience like that. I wasn't streamlined the way I was supposed to be. I didn't have an understanding or a clarity of who my people were yet. The first clients I was just getting in, it was like weird. The communication was not perfect. Like some of us were just like really
Mm,
connecting.
I feel
The
you
work
on that.
was still good. The work was still good, but it was like, ooh, after I was done with the client, I was like, man,
It's
like
draining.
it wasn't as as high as the way I was hoping it would. It is with some people, but some of these people, it's just like not really, they're not I feel like they're valuing kind of what I'm saying. It's more just, well, this is what I want, this is what I want. And I was like, that's really not who I'm about. And when I started really understanding my purpose, what I was trying to do for people's lives and their businesses, my type of personality, the type of people I want to help get from point A to point B, the people who can really value from what I'm bringing to the table, I started talking directly to those people and speaking and calling them out directly, not just everybody, but calling them out directly. And those people were like, oh, that's me. She's talking to me. It's not she's talking to someone like me or someone who's done some of the things. She's talking to me. Now I want to talk to her.
Beautiful.
I want to
Yeah.
do more, right? So like I think about if you want to have a visual, imagine someone telling you, okay, I want you to do a presentation about, something you love or something you like. Okay, you have 30 minutes on this podium to talk to this room of people, and you walk in and there's 100, 200 people there. You don't know anything about them. You don't know where they go, what they do, if they have kids, what their lifestyle is, things they like. You don't know nothing. And you say, we want you to sell these people on this. We want you to sell these people on this. You'd be
Mm, mm.
okay, and they'd be looking at you like
Wasting my time. Yeah.
a person here and there might be like, oh yeah, okay, I like that too. But most of the people are going to be like, because you're not going to be able to talk directly to them and understand how to talk to them, understand what their triggers are, understand what their likes, what they enjoy, things that they can relate to. You can't sell them on something without understanding them. If you walked in the same situation and you said, and all of these women are mothers between the ages of 30 and 45 who are their favorite hobbies are health and wellness, and they're bubbly and they're people pleasers, right? You'd be like, oh, I got this, right? You'd be able to talk to them, you'd be able to talk great to
Mm-hmm.
them, you'd be able to relate to them, you'd be able to tell stories that they can connect to and relate to. It's the same thing with branding. You need to know the people you're talking to so that you can
Absolutely.
talk to them in a way that they can understand you. If you just talk to
Not even
everybody,
that, just
generalize them,
attractive
it's
too,
crazy.
even
Yeah,
remotely just make them look your way. Because that's the thing,
yeah.
like,
You have something that can help these people. You're not trying to trap these people. You are providing a service or a product to help these people. So putting them in a box kind of is not working against them. It's helping you reach these people more successfully so that you can help more people. You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
not
And it
trapping
works, and it
people.
works for you too, because at the end of the day, like imagine you, I serve everyone. No, you don't.
No,
You
you
serve
don't.
nobody. You
You
serve
know what?
nobody.
Same thing. My father used to always say, if you go to a restaurant and their menu is 10 pages long, the chances are they can't do anything really, really well. If you go to a restaurant and
Not
they have a
fresh.
menu of 5 things, you know everything on that menu is going to be banging. They've done it 100 times.
That's so funny. I was
Fresh.
just thinking about that the other day
You know what I
too.
mean? So
Wow. Yeah.
people are looking at you and they're saying, if you're talking to everybody, you're not going to know really how to take care of me. If you're someone who's like, I know how to take care of these people are going to want to go because they're those people, right? So
Absolutely.
it works for you and it works for the customer. It's not working against anybody. You're not doing anything wrong by trying to understand people better and to a community and build a community. You're not leaving anybody out. You're
Yeah.
not. You're just celebrating the people who can value what it is that you can provide so that you can do your job properly and reach more people. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
thing, you
And
know?
one of the things too that I've been seeing a lot on social media, and it's been it's been it's been heard by the wrong people, is that you can't niche down or you don't have to.
Right. Right.
Number one, it is like saying you serve everyone. If you don't niche down, I don't care. You argue all day. I will win this no matter what. I will tell you why you have to niche down. But that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of these, quote unquote gurus on social media that are just saying, like, no, you don't have to niche down. Just you are the niche.
I
What?
don't like, I understand the you are the niche, right? So for example, some owners are their target audience, right? So for
Mhm.
example, I work with, a waxer and she is in her, early 30s and she works really hard. She doesn't have a lot of time for herself and, she cares about, health and wellness. And so do her clients, right? So sometimes you are your target audience. Sometimes you are your niche. That is true sometimes. But I think there is a thing such as niching down too hard and too strictly and talking against the people who don't fit into that niche. I think you can
Mm.
do it wrong, but I don't think it works against you to niche down unless you niche down to a point where nobody fits in, right? It's like, okay,
Try to figure out what industry that is.
I'm gonna niche down and I'm gonna start a cryptocurrency brand and I'm gonna niche down and my audience is gonna be for people ages like 15 to 22. Okay, well that's like really small and like that might not work that well. Yeah, that's gonna work against you. You might want to like open that up and not niche down so much. Yeah, there's certain ways to say it, but I have seen,
Yeah.
these gurus say like, oh, it's going to work against you to have a niche. Okay, why don't we talk about the specific industry that you're saying in which it doesn't benefit you to niche down?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, maybe there's a specific industry where it doesn't, but for most brands, I can speak confidently that it absolutely does help for you to have an understanding on what the personality is and the lifestyle and the type of person and the thought process behind the person you're trying to sell to. I mean, it's kind of like
And this is knowing your target audience too, because if you don't know, but that's the I'm saying, like, if you don't know your target audience, you're not really niching down, because you have to know who you're talking to. At the end of
yeah,
the day, you have to know who you're talking to.
yeah.
So yeah, it's
Even
it's
big brands like Walmart, even big brands like Walmart,
yeah,
they have a niche audience, even though everybody shops there at some point or another, even though they're an affordable company for all people to get all things they could possibly ever need for their home and their life. But they still have an audience. They still have people
absolutely.
who are like, no, I'm diehard Walmart. Like Target can go away. I'm diehard
Yeah.
Walmart. Like
And
they,
vice versa. Never go to Walmart. Well, I'll never step foot in there. It
yeah,
stinks. You see all these, different people.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. An
Yeah.
audience for everything, whether you think everybody needs it or not. And to sit down and like tell Walmart, like, oh, you guys don't need to niche down. You guys need to start appealing to everybody. Where do you even start? You can't appeal to everybody. You can't do it. There's
Exactly.
gonna be people who don't
Absolutely.
want your business. It's just normal. I don't get offended when someone says, oh, you're not the right fit for me. Chances are I agree with you. I'm probably not the right fit. The way that you're, communicating what your needs are they don't really fit with the process that I have that I see as being successful for you. Or maybe you're not at the point of your business where this is the best option for you. Sometimes they're not the right customer for you. Even if you
Absolutely.
sell soap, there are people who are not right for your business.
Yep.
Okay. So like, you need to appeal to those people that are like, oh, I get it. I feel it. I see it. I like it. I value it. I want
Yeah,
to
you
share
gotta
with
love
those
it. You gotta love
people.
it.
You gotta love it. And if they don't, that's okay. Do you know how many
Yeah.
people are on this planet? Like you're gonna find somebody. But
Yeah.
the only time we have to be
Yeah.
really, if you're locational, right? If you're locational and you're providing for a service, you're providing a service or a product for people that are just in a locational area. Yeah, you want to like pay attention a little bit more about what's working and not what's not working. Because this isn't virtual where you can just be like, yeah, I can just do this and no one in the US likes it, but people in the UK eat this up.
Yeah.
If you're like in the Bible Belt in Texas, like chances are if you're making like crazy anarchy, necklaces and stuff, there's a chance they might not sell well. There's a chance, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not really paying attention to your environment as well, right?
Absolutely.
But chances are if you niche down, there are people there hiding in that little Bible Belt that are going to be like, oh, I've been looking for this. It's so hard to find because of where I live, right?
Yeah.
You just have to really understand your market, your product, your people, your messaging, your location, your environment. You kind of have to like read the room a little bit, right?
Yeah.
It's a
That's what
strategy.
we're saying, like that's where common sense comes into play. And
Yeah.
it's difficult because as a business owner, when I first started years ago as a business, before I knew anything about marketing or branding, I was
Yeah.
like, I need everybody to buy my stuff because
Hmm.
why wouldn't you love this? Why wouldn't you love this?
Yeah.
And being in the also MLM aspect, direct sales, I saw that a lot.
Yeah.
Everyone uses shampoo, so I used to sell shampoo. Everyone needs shampoo. Everyone needs what I'm selling.
Yeah.
No, not everyone needs what you're selling, but there are some people that do need it, right?
Mhm.
How are you going to talk to them? How are you going to reach them? What avenues are you going to use? What are
Yeah.
you doing? So, yes, I get, and so I guess that's one of the questions that I want to ask you next, which is, what are your pet peeves when it comes to brand design? With
Yeah.
people, saying, okay, I want this, but based on your knowledge and what you know and what you've studied and all that stuff and who you worked with, what are some pet peeves? Because I have a lot, but we can go all day. We can go all day.
So, I think I always tell people your inspiration for what you see for your business means something to me. Whether it's totally wrong for the strategy or not, there's a reason you have this vision in your brain. And we're going to navigate that. We're going to navigate your reasons for it. We're also going to talk about the proper strategy for your business. And we're going to look and see if those two things match up. And I never have to sit here and say, this is wrong. I'm telling you right now, we go through the brand strategy workshop. We agree upon the strategy. It's never me trying to convince them of anything. When I ask them these questions and they start opening up their mind and understanding things about their brand, they're going, oh my God, I'm learning things about my brand. I didn't even make that connection to my brand. I didn't even realize that's what my purpose was, right? I didn't even realize these are the type of people I'm trying to talk to. Oh my gosh, it's making sense. It's not me telling them, it's me guiding them to discovering these things. I'm never once answering a question for them. So afterwards, before I have them go through that workshop, I have them show me on Pinterest, what their visual inspiration is. Oh, I love these colors. I love this brand. I love this logo. Okay, that's fine. That's
Cool.
great. Now that the strategy's done, I want you to look at that again. And they look at it and they go, oh my gosh, none of that would work. And I was like,
That's
I
genius.
said, you're
Yeah.
right. And I said, that's a really good, I'm really glad that you could perceive that after this because it means that you have a better understanding of your brand and your purpose now. So let me show you some directions that would make sense for the strategy that we have. And then I start showing them some examples and they're like, oh, God, yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly it. And I never want to tell people they're wrong. You have these feelings for a reason. An attachment to your business is strong. It's
Yeah.
emotional. There's a lot of ego involved. There's a lot of fear involved. There's a lot of fear of judgment involved, criticism for yourself from other people. And it can be really stressful trying to make a decision like that and not look inwards and think about what other people think, because it's scary to think about what other people think and what they
Yeah.
want, right? So,
Absolutely.
you have to step beside yourself and look at it from an outside perspective and say, I know this is what I wanted, but I don't think this is the most successful way for me to move forward. And I don't need to say that for them. They say it for themselves every single time, which I love. That means I'm doing something right and they're understanding and they're where they need to be. That's the most important thing. They're where they need to be. So, is it a pet peeve for me when people say, yes, I want this, and this? Kind of. It's more of a pet peeve when people say, this is what's going to happen, and I'm not budging from it, regardless of the fact that I know it's not the right decision for me moving forward. I
And
feel
I'm paying you for it.
that, yeah, I feel sad for that. I feel sad that there's something that's blocking them from putting that wall down and being able to accept something, whether it might not be exactly what they imagined. And those are the type of people that, maybe aren't flexible or ready to put their trust in an expert. And that's okay. It's not for everybody
Right.
who's at that position yet. So
Yeah.
you
And you
need
can
to
always tell
that
too
you're
they're not
ready.
ready either. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And another pet peeve of mine, really, I think that people should understand as a brand is when your branding, we've talked about it, when your branding doesn't match what you provide. It's awkward. It's weird. Have you ever looked at a restaurant, like their Instagram, and you're like, oh my God, this is so cute. I'm gonna go with the girls. We're gonna have so much fun, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, everyone looks so friendly. This looks so fun. It looks so decorated. Their logo looks cute and expensive, and it's gonna be ritzy. And you show up, and it's like this bottom of the barrel, like dirty, sticky diner.
Insane.
And
Yeah.
you're like, and the
Yeah.
food sucks. None of it looks like it does on the Instagram. Like that
Wow. Yeah.
immediately, like I'm writing a review, dude. Like you tricked me to come here. Like that was deceitful and you broke my trust. I'm never coming back here again. So I think as a brand, I think people should think about, you know, is everything matching up? Is there a consistency from
100%.
your look to your website to your reviews to your logo to your pictures to their experience to your customer service to the what happens after you work with them to your email marketing, right? Is there a consistency when it comes to credibility, professionalism, consistency? Is it across the board the same? Because when it is, people a sense of, oh, I can trust these people. They are who they say they're going to be. They
Yeah.
deliver what they say they're going to deliver. They're not like a wolf in sheep's clothing. I'm not being redirected the wrong way. So those are my pet peeves. Like I don't have a ton of pet peeves, but those are just things that I'm like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. For me, doing this, the amount of time that I've been doing it for, I've learned to pretty much decipher from the first interaction
yeah, you're good at
to
that.
to like the middle before working together.
Yeah,
So I've implemented a couple of things just this past year
yeah,
that I'm like, okay, I need to know more because I don't do as much discovery calls as I used to do.
yeah, yeah,
And one of the reasons is because once I get in a discovery call with somebody, a quote unquote sales call, if you will, they're completely wanting something different, you know? And I understand, okay, here's the thing, because I think yesterday I was just talking about this. Like, I understand that you're paying me, you're going, okay, people think that money is like attractive for myself, that I'm like, okay, this is why I will go deep into your brand strategy. Believe you're gonna hate me, okay?
yeah, yeah,
And when people say that, oh yeah, because military based, and I know you're gonna really dissect, but then when I really tell them, okay, this is not working, like, okay, well, I paid you however many $1,000,
yeah,
however many, you have to do it. So one of the things is just having like onboarding systems, just having systems that are going to check them off themselves. Okay, you know what? I don't think this is right for me. And people have stopped like midway of my questionnaire. Like, are you going to give me
You're not
full? Do
ready.
you trust me? Do you
Yeah,
trust me? You
yeah,
know, do
yeah,
you trust me? Because if you don't trust me, don't even waste your time. Because I'm not even gonna waste my time, you
yeah,
know? Because and
yeah,
then if something wrong happens, let's say we move forward, something wrong happens, and I'm telling you, okay, you need to change your colors. I have this
yeah.
one client that her colors are blue, green, lime green, and royal blue. Okay. And her thing is she is a CPA. But
Oh,
my thing is the type of people that she's targeting, it is not the colors. Okay. When I tell you that she's trying to target corporations, big people, right now,
mhm.
you gotta start in the middle. You don't,
Yeah,
okay, you're targeting, nilly willies. I understand,
yeah,
they have their people, but you're middle size. Let's start. Let's do it with middle size. You know what I mean? People that are making, let's say, $10,000 to $15,000 a month. From or 15 to 30K. Let's do that. That's great. We can't jump into these big corporations that are making millions a month because it's just not going to work. You
mhm.
know. And so telling her that it crushed her. It crushed her, and she was just like, okay, I think we're done. So we had to breach the contract. We had to like just stop working. She still, works with me from time to time when it comes to like small things, like questions and things like that. But when it comes
Yeah.
to actual brand strategy,
There
at this
are,
point, I don't even know what's gonna happen at this point because I'm
yeah,
just like, okay, well, I don't want you to think that it's my fault. That's the thing.
yeah,
Like, I don't want you to, I don't want to say mess my brand up, but just like tell me, like, okay, she didn't help me. She could
yeah,
have. Yes, I could have, but here's the
yeah.
thing: some people don't want to hear it and
Yeah,
hear it.
I've been very grateful that that's only happened to me once. I did have a client forever ago that, was like, oh, I'm open to this, I'm open to that, blah, 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 blah. And then it was like, I'm very open to being flexible. I don't have like an exact idea of what I want. And then when we started doing it, it was like she was sending me graphics and was like, this is the exact graphic I want you to do. I just want you to like redraw for me. And I'm like, I can't do that. I
Wow.
can't replicate, someone's work. I do something like that. And it was very much like, well, I'm paying you, so this is what you have to do. And then I was like, all right, here's your money back. I'm not,
Wow.
what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
And that
it's
even says something much bigger, about you as a designer. Like, okay, you're not really trying to take my money. And
no,
it's
absolutely
just,
not. I
but I
have a
think that's one of the things.
guilt for
Yeah.
helping you. I feel good helping you. When I'm done working with a brand, I stay in touch and I
Yeah.
watch them grow and I help them grow. Like
Yeah.
I'm not, and I don't mean this in the bad way, but like, that's why I never just say, oh, I'm a logo designer, because I'm not just like, oh, this is what you want. Okay, I'm gonna take what you said, I'm gonna put it into a thing the way that I view it, and then I'm just gonna give it to you. And that's easy money, you know what I mean?
You
That's easy.
definitely could if you wanted to. Absolutely.
But I don't really care what you're doing with it. I don't really care if the design choices that you made as a non-designer were the right choices or not for you. I'm just going to do what you said to do because I'm taking your money. And if someone wants a service-based provider like that, that they can have full control over, then that's good. But don't go to an expert, because that's like going to the
Yeah.
dentist and being like, oh,
I don't need a crown.
I have 4 cavities. No, I only got 2. Then why'd you come here? Then why'd you come here and ask me
Yeah.
how many cavities I think you have? If you think I'm an expert, you need to trust me. It's okay to get a second opinion,
Oh,
but
yes, for sure.
to just say, no, you're wrong. I know, right. If you did, though, you would just be doing this
Yeah.
yourself, right? Like you would just be doing this yourself. And you have the power to do that. If you go on Fiverr, there's a lot of people that if you just answer 3 or 4 questions, this is the graphic I want, this, they will go into their little thing, they'll type something in and they'll copy and paste something for you and send it for you, and you'll be on your way. And that's cool. That's the control you want over it. I get it. I understand it. But is it the best investment for you? I don't think so. Is it proven to help you in any way, shape, or form? Is it actually going to achieve anything for you except just change your actual symbol that people are looking at? I don't know. I don't know how much you know about design, but if you're hiring a designer, I'm guessing not that much, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you gotta put that ego back a little bit and put your trust in somebody. And that's why, You need to be honest with people. You need to build a connection with people because people are trusting you. Like people aren't coming to me and spending $50 on their rebrand. They're coming to me and they're investing,
Yeah,
and I want them to feel like their investment was worth it. Me, their investment is worth it. And I want them to feel the same when they're done. And they do, which is great. So finding that audience is not only me helping them, it's helping craft and shape for me a clientele that works really well for me, that I really enjoy working with, that I can help as much as I possibly can, that I can give value to as well as I can. And that helps out both of us. I'm working with people that
absolutely.
really get and respect me and understand me and value me. And they're having a service provider who really gets them, understands them, values them, respects them. So it's a beautiful thing. There's a person for everyone.
Yeah.
There's,
And I
and
think that's one of the things that a lot of business owners don't understand. That's why they want to say, okay, I serve everyone, because they're afraid that the idea that the actual fact that there's are people for your type of things that they will buy, your unique thing, unique product, unique service, they will buy it. I guess you answer the question, the approach of, when
yeah.
people want something, they're like, this is what I need. This is what I want. This is how much I'm paying you. Can you do it? Because I know for me, I set those boundaries even before payment, even
You
before
do it
contract.
so quick, Teresa. Literally, you do it so like you're so good at it. When I first, because if people don't know already, I've worked with you, and when I was on that call with you after we got done, I was like, "Damn, I hope she likes me." And it wasn't like, "Oh, because she's mean" or anything. It was just like you were asking questions that were like, "Are you ready for this?" And I was like, "I don't know, dude. Like, I think I am." But, like, I'm nervous, and
You
I was
never time to time I rewatch the video because I like to learn from like my calls and stuff like that. I'm like, oh girl, oh my goodness.
I was so nervous, but it made me sit here and be like, am I ready to do the work to make the change for this? Because if I don't, I'm giving her this much money for me to not be ready to do what she told me I need to do to succeed, right? So I had to sit there and I was like, man, am I ready for this? Like, am I ready? And I sat there and I was like motivated. I was like, yeah, I am ready. Like she made really good points. She asked really good questions. And like this feeling I'm feeling, I think is more like, yeah, dude, like I am ready. And I liked your military style, your military style approach because it's like no bullshit, right? It's like, are you ready to do this? This is how this is going to go. Are you going to be able to follow this timeline, follow this process with me? Because if you do, you're going to be successful. If you don't, you're not going to get what you wanted back on your investment, right? So after you agree that this is how we're going to move forward, you're now taking accountability that you're going to do the work that needs to be done to move it forward, right? So like
Absolutely.
that
That was my goal, my hope
yeah.
for you. And if people are wondering, oh, she's here, so it must have worked. Yes, she's here
It
because
snapped me into shape so quick. And just to talk about like numbers for a second, and this is real facts, okay? I'm gonna like judge you up a little bit right now. The
oh
amount
no.
of money that I spent on your process, right? That was the first time I ever invested money into coaching. So I was like, I was scared, right? I was like, oh my,
Wow.
be giving money to somebody. And to me, I was like, oh, I'm giving money to somebody that I don't have a promised return on, right? Because you can't promise me a return on anything. You can only promise that if I follow these steps, that there should be a return. But you can't I'm not promising,
Yeah.
right? Which is scary, right? But that's what happens when you get a coach.
So fucking scary. Okay, because when I did my heart, I was like,
Yeah, because you have to sit there and be like, I can't promise you anything's going to happen after this. You know what I mean? This is you. And, I was like, oh, I'm going to invest this money. I'm nervous. I'm scared. And then I kid you not like 2 weeks later, because it was an 8-week program I think I did with you. And
yeah,
I was like quarter of the way through and it was paid off. Like I was like double paid off actually.
wow.
I think the first client that I got after that was like paid off what I paid for you plus like a significantly amount more, right? And it was because I had confidence in this coaching that I was developing, and that confidence, not even just the skills you were teaching me, just the confidence of knowing that I was taking the step of bettering my business and like really being active on it. immediately made me confident in doing things that I was already doing and was making me do them better and more sufficiently and like confidently, right?
Wow.
Which was cool. But then, of course, I implemented the skills that you did, and it made sense, and I was able to show up more confident. I was able to be consistent and do what I had to do. So, and they worked, right? Which was cool. And a lot of those things are the reasons why I'm able to run my business by myself, is because of the systems and the tools that you gave me and, found out worked for me. It gave me clarity, right? And niching down. Before, I was kind of like, well, I work with like passionate people. And we were like, whatever that means. Like, whatever. And like, my clients were like all over the freaking map, dude. Like, they were all
Yeah. Wow.
and now, like, I
Yeah.
really have like a consistent, like, I'm
Isn't
telling
that crazy?
people, and they're like, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, like I totally see the value in that price. Like, no doubt. Like, let's move forward and do this. Like, there's no disconnect there. And before I was working with clients where they were like, oh, well, that's kind of expensive, and I don't really want to spend that much money. And I was like, okay, okay, and it was
Yeah.
disappointing because I was like, oh, I feel like I'm putting the work out there, but I wasn't really showing up for myself the way I was supposed to, and I wasn't expressing the credibility of my business the way I was supposed to. So I was getting people that were like, oh, I thought you just do like logos. And I was like, no.
Wow. Wow.
And so, I had to express what it is that I'm really delivering, with the tools that you gave me. So, yeah, I did it. It worked. And
Guys,
that
I
was
want you to know
so
that this was
happened.
not the plan of this.
This was not. We didn't know we were going to get along super well and then like
Yeah.
be collaborating all the time, but it just
No,
like
it's crazy because I really
and
found,
also
yeah,
we do a lot of the same stuff, so we should have butt heads a lot because we come from the same realm and we were talking about a lot of the same things, and you were telling me things that like I was like, well, I already know that, and you're like, yeah, well, you're not doing it, and I was like, well, make a good point, but I still already knew that. And that's like what you need to do when you hire somebody like a brand strategist or a brand designer, right? You have to trust them that like, oh, you look in a mirror, no matter who you are, you can't look in a mirror and be able to perfectly depict what you look like. You literally cannot do that.
I feel
You
like
need
that's
the
so
outside
crazy. Yeah.
perspective of someone who's not up here in your brain. And you need that with your business too. You need an outside perspective. I've talked to people who've had their business for 12, 13 years. I've been following them on Instagram for about 2 weeks, and or just looked up their stuff 20 minutes before our call, and they're like, yeah, well, I'm about this, and this. And I'm like, oh, well, what about this, and this? And they're like, oh, well, I never thought about doing this. I never thought about doing that. And I'm like, that's because you're not looking from the outside in, right? You need to look. You've been doing this for so long, you have no idea what's actually going on around you. That's why like a community and like, people you can trust and
Absolutely.
collaborating, that's
Absolutely.
important, because designing my own brand was one of the hardest things I ever had to do, because
I
I
can
had to
imagine. I can
hear me
imagine.
people. I literally called and I was like, can you look at this and tell me if like this is me? Because I had to do that. I had to reach out to other designers and be like, hey, I need an outside perspective because I know that I'm not the perfect depiction of understanding everything about my brand from an outside perspective. So, you need help. Like, I'm not saying that you can't design a brand for yourself and have it be successful. There's some people who have maybe a creative background or design background, and there's like a
Right.
really simple answer for that's cool. That's super rare, but like if you can do that, like kudos, man. Like kudos.
Yeah. I sure couldn't because you remember my slides?
Oh my gosh. Yes, I
So
do.
if you guys don't know, so the same slides that I was doing training Marra, a brand designer, I know you were having such a hard time because I thought they were bomb.
I was like,
When you were telling me, hey, so like that was because it was toward like the 8th week or something like that. It was
yeah,
9 week program. And towards like the 8th week, you're like, yeah, so what I would do, I was like, you know what?
I
You're
tried to be
right.
like so discreet about it. I was like, so in case you're wondering if you've ever thought about this, if you're ever open to making changes, I think this can really help you out, because right now it's so,
every stuff is different. Like I have a different font or something.
yeah.
I don't know why I thought that was awesome.
You were
Oh,
best with what you had. And that's, the important part was that the information was getting across to me. It was getting across to me. But from a designer and from knowing people who like the fact that proper design will make people excited to learn. You know what I mean? If I'm at
yeah.
the front of a presentation and I put something up and I don't, I'm talking about the psychology of dirt. I don't know, I'm talking about something, right?
Yeah.
And it's it's ugly and it's mismatched and it's hard to read and
Yeah.
it's legible, or
Mm.
the colors make it hard for you to read. I don't want to know. But if you give me
Yeah.
and it's like got cool images of dirt and it's formatted in a way
Oh, girl, you
that
should
makes
see my
your
slides
brain
now. Because
oh my
I'm
God,
using
I
the
was
slide.
like,
I'm using the slides that you made for me. By the way, guys, yeah, I made me some slides because I tell you, I just felt like I really didn't have the time to
and most people
think
don't.
about
I mean,
just
they don't. And
like my
it's
thing is just like I need you to get this down. Like I will break it down, Barney style. I will dissect
yeah,
this one word down to the so you understand.
yeah,
But then the branding side, even as a brand strategist and what I usually coach on and, and train
yeah,
people on, I wasn't applying to myself. So don't think like I'm this perfect brand strategist.
we
No,
all
I've had my flaws
yeah,
coming from a brand designer perspective, because you did really humble me when it came
yeah,
to that because you accepted me at the end of the day too. And then once I understood, I started seeing this. When you take a picture of yourself and then you stare at it too hard, your
yeah,
eye starts getting bigger,
yeah,
you start seeing that. That's how I was seeing my slides. I was like, yeah, maybe I should tell Marra to like design some slides for me because this is not working
yeah.
for me.
I was like, girl, just let me
Yeah,
make
because I
it.
would have kept on with the same size if you would have not told me anything. I promise you. But then
They,
again, you do learn, over time. This is why I'm grateful that I had a client that was a brand designer. Because if
yeah,
you were any other career or any other,
yeah.
thing,
Literally,
I
even if you're in the creative field, right? You wouldn't ask a painter to take a headshot, a photo of you, right? You wouldn't, a web designer to do something outside of that realm, although they know art, right? Which even though some people are like, oh, my grandpa is an interior designer, so I let him design my logo. No, they're different.
yeah,
Like
that's
it's different, right? And I people see a brand, full brand, like let's say Coca-Cola for sure, whatever.
yeah,
They don't see that for that brand to be successful, there's like 40 people
right.
underneath
And
that
it's
all
crazy that I don't see
involved in
that.
that the creative.
And yeah,
Well,
and the crazy thing is that people compare that have been open for like a couple of months with brands like that. And I'm just
yeah.
like, why are you comparing? I've had clients compare themselves to Johnson and Johnson or all these other, how
They've
long they've
been
been
around
around?
for years. They've had
Like
years.
like century or something like that, like 90,
Yeah.
70 years. Like there's no way, so just having that again, circling
Yeah.
back to common sense, like, okay, I need help with my brand. So let's say
Yeah.
you need help with sales. Are you going to hire a marketing strategist? Sure. Are you going to hire somebody that, works in the selling? Sure. But I think going a little bit deeper than that, really researching, really research. Like if you want to make sure you're getting the best bang for your buck, brand designer, that is a strategist
Yeah.
yourself. Actual brand strategist, great. But don't go with a brand designer. It's like, okay, design beautiful logos, beautiful websites, and it's not reaching your audience. It's not doing because you're going to waste your money. This is where
Yeah.
people come and say, okay, I've spent $500 on my website. It's not converting,
Because you had no strategy. You just have a tool that you don't know
you
how to use.
know?
If you have a tool, but you don't know how to use that the right way, it's just a thing that's in your way. It's just getting in your way. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, for example, business cards, right? Some people will say business cards are out, they're dead. If your business card sucks, yeah, there's
Yeah.
literally no point. People say business cards are dead all the time. My business card, I don't have it like right in front of me, but I have a very unique square business card. It's soft, it's different, it's got nice colors on it, it's with my branding, whatever. every time I hand this business card out to people, I'm telling you right now, there's no crazy, nothing outlandish. I'm not paying thousands of dollars for my business cards. These are affordable. I just took the time to make it different and make a statement and make it a tool that
Absolutely.
serves a purpose, right? When you hold my business card, I've never had someone take my business card and go, "Oh, this is cool," and put it in their wallet.
They'll look at it. Wow.
No one's ever, "Oh man, this is really nice. Oh, you can do, oh, there's an interactive thing on the back. Cool. It's so soft. Wow, I've never seen one with rounded corners before. Man, I tell me yesterday they wanted to put my business card on their fridge so that they could pick it up and touch it all the time in their hands because it was soft.
Wow. That's
Like, this is
awesome.
so pretty. I want to put it on my fridge, right? So because of that, these people are holding on to my business, talking about my business, thinking about my business, building brand recognition. It's something that they don't want to throw away. They're not just going to stick it in the pile of a bunch of other stuff, right? So a business card can just be a business card. A website can just be a website. Or if you
If you,
plan
right.
you can use it as a tool to grow credibility, to drive people to your audience, to build brand recognition, right?
Right.
So you can make all of these things for your brand, the business card, the website, the logo, whatever, but if there's no strategy behind it, it's just another thing. It's just
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
thing. It's just another picture. It's just another website. It's just another whatever. It's not wowing anybody. It's not, no one's remembering it. No one's going, "Oh, this is so cool. You got to see this." That's what a brand is.
God knows
What
how many
there's
times I
a quote that
changed my
says,
business card.
your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I
That's
mean? It's
powerful.
about
Mm-hmm.
the story that people have about your business when you're not in the room, when you're not the one speaking for it. What are you speaking? What's your business saying about you, right? So if you don't think that your branding is wowing people, if you don't think your business, you're
Or
staying
you're
in,
not getting the response that you hoped for.
there's
You
a
gotta
reason.
take it. Yeah.
There's a reason you're not talking to your audience, right? When I give my business card to, let's say, for example, the only time my business card have not worked out was when I'm giving it to someone who could not care less about what I do. For example, a 90-year-old man, we're just shooting, "Oh, you have a business? What's your business card?"
Mhm.
"Oh, wow, this is really cool. I've never seen one like this before." And you know why?
Is that how
People
they
care
talk?
about that because that man is never gonna hire me. He shouldn't be excited about what I'm talking about because it's irrelevant to his life. But when I talk to small business owners, women, entrepreneurs, people that are in my audience, they go, "Oh, wow," because they go, "Oh, I want people to react like this to my stuff, I want people to be
Absolutely.
excited about my stuff like
It's
that."
getting the job done. Mm.
That's what you're supposed to do. That's what a brand strategist does. It wows people, right? People, right? Makes people remember you. So yeah, that's my approach, I guess.
Yeah, there's God knows how many times I changed my business for that same reason. You learn.
You learn.
Uh,
You learn.
but yeah, I mean, is there anything else you would like to tell people? Maybe like an advice or anything whatsoever? Because
I think,
I sure tell them, yeah, listen, you need to hire a strategist first before anything else. But what is
yeah,
your take on that? Like, what would you say to people right now starting their business or a year in and having difficulty? They're not getting the wow that they want, that they hoped for, because we assume it's
yeah,
business.
yeah.
What did what would you tell those people?
So I think there's a few different people that would be watching this podcast. One of them I think is someone who wants to start a business, just has an idea, right? They have an idea. They don't know who it's for, what it's for. They don't really even know why they're doing it. They just want to see if it sticks to the wall, right? Do I think that with an idea, right? You work full time, you just have an idea and you want to try it out. Do I think you should spend, thousands of dollars? No, I really don't think you should. I think you should develop a visual identity for yourself. It should be simple. It should be just words. It should be bold, legible, to the point, nothing fancy. Boom, boom, done, right? Done. You try it out. Oh, people are interested in this product. It's moving. It's moving. Oh, it's been a year. It's been 2 years. I'm starting to plateau. The people who liked my business when they first came out were buying because they had a connection with me already. But they're saying that they like it. Now I want people who don't know me to also like it, but they don't know me and I don't know how to get them to like my product, right? I need to start reaching more people. I need to teach people what I'm about. I need to entice people who I don't already know and trust me because I'm making something to want to buy this from me. I want it to look like an actual business. I don't want it to look like a hobby. I want it to, I want people to, maybe I wanted my prices a little bit because people are selling and I think I can actually make a profit off of this, right? I want to raise my prices. I want my product to look like an actual product and not just something I made in my kitchen and I'm handing it out to somebody. If you're trying to serve a purpose now, if you're trying to grow your credibility, if you're trying to look like an actual business, if you're trying to make a profit from your business, it is time for you to sit down, look at what additional money you have laying aside that hopefully you have been saving up because you wanted this to turn from a hobby into a real business. And you start, I want to invest in this because I want it to be something real. I need to look at my budget. I need to do my research and I need to see what a real professional brand, strategic brand designer costs. And then I need to start researching brand designers that fit my personality, that work with brands that are similar to my brand. And maybe that's not the same exact brand, like, oh, I'm soap, they're soap. More like, what's the type of personality that these brands are that this person's working with, right? Are these brands very diverse? Are they very inclusive? Are these brands very corporate? Are they very playful? Are they, childlike, right? I'm going to find a designer that fits my personality. I'm going to interview them. I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to ask them questions about their process. Do they have some sort of strategy in place for my investment to make sure that I'm getting money back from my investment? Then from there, sit there and say, how much do I value the growth of this business that I'm willing to invest in the face of this business? Your brand is everything. Your brand is, when you walk into a room, the brand is the first impression. It's the first thing that they see. Do I want that first impression to stick or do I not care? If I value that first impression, making an impression, I'm going to invest in that. And then you decide what that value is to you. But with everything in life, you get what you paid for. Look at what the prices are, do your own research of what a brand strategist, a brand designer costs, and then fit that into your budget. If it's not time, if you don't have the money, if you're like, oh, it's $1,000 more than I thought it was, I don't have the money for that right now. Don't cheap out and say, I'm going to lower my standards
Yeah.
for who's going
Oh.
to take care of my business, because $1,000 less ain't that money less. You're still losing money and you're still going to have to pay more money to fix the mistake of the person that you cheaped out on. If you're not ready for it yet, I found the designer that I want. This happens to me all the time. Marra, I love your stuff. I want to work with you. I see what you cost now, but I trust in what you want to do and I really like connect with you. Give me like 6 months. I'm going to come back. We're going to hit the ground running. I know what the budget is now. Let's go. That's okay if you don't have the budget right now, but keep that in your mind that this is what you want to do. Be set on it. Trust your intuition and move forward with the designer that best works for you. If you're going to cheapen out and you're going to find someone less expensive, please make sure that they are offering you what that other person was. You want to know the
Absolutely.
reason why they're so much less expensive. Look at the brands they've worked with before and not just the work that they've put out for the brands, what the brands are actually doing now. Like, now that they're now working with them, are they successful? Are they building a community? Are they good people? Are they happy with their work? Check the reviews, ask so many questions. Maybe talk to people who have worked with them before. Do your research and find the right person for you, because this investment is a representative of who you are. It's a representation of your quality and your credibility as a business. And you should take pride in that. And it is an investment and you should be very confident in your investment moving forward. That's why I say, if I'm not the right fit for someone, that's okay. I want you to find the right fit. I would hate for us to work together and you not to get what you wanted out of this. So you find the right fit for you and, trust your intuition and move forward with that. If you're 5 years down the road and you want to grow your business and you have, let's say, $6,000 that you're like, oh, I can invest into my business, and you decide to spend $50 on that on Fiverr, rebrand your business, and then spend the other $5,000 on merch, I mean,
Where are
no.
your priorities?
Yeah, like that's not, that's where I would say you're not doing this right. You know what I mean? So there's ways to, invest and distribute your investment. The first step is strategy, understanding your audience, understanding who you are, what your purpose is, and having a strategy to actually make a difference in your business. And that is not going to happen with someone who says, so what do you want? If you go to a brand designer or a brand strategist and they just sit there and they say, so what do you want? What do you want it to look like? Just tell me what you want. It's my job to tell you what is best for you. It's not your job to tell me. It's your job to tell me, what sounds good or what you've been thinking of or
Yeah,
what might
throw your ideas at us.
throw
Just
them out. Like, I
throw
love
them
that.
all.
I want them. That helps me a lot. That helps me a lot. I want to hear those things. But if you think you're just gonna sit and be like, oh, if you want your designer to just sit there and have you tell them what to do,
That's a red flag too.
that's a red flag. It's a red
Yeah,
flag.
for sure. 100%.
It's my advice.
Wow, beautiful. That's
You
great. That was great. I hope it gets to the right people,
too.
That's all here. We're chit-chatting, laughing, we're joking, but at the end of the day, personally, I want this to get to the right people because
Yeah.
I know now there's so many people just, I want to start my business. Let's go. Let's do it. And while that's great, because there's so much out there, so much that you can do for free, for cheap, cheaper, easier, faster. The idea that they have, and once it's done, it's not
Yeah.
going to get the same result that they hope for. And
Yeah.
so, this is what I am telling you right now. If you are listening, if you're watching this on YouTube, listening on any other platforms, if you want to start a business or you already have a business and you're just like, man, something is it's just not giving what's given. It's supposed to give. It's not there. Look into at least, hey, get on a call. I'm sure Marra, you would be the same. Let's just get a call. Just tell me your ideas. Let me see if we can actually do something.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, um, because there's nothing worse than creating a business, doing a business, having this idea, this passion, and then becoming a dead passion and not
Yeah.
doing. And you're literally your expensive hobby now.
Well,
Expensive hobbies.
you have to take steps. That's one thing that you
Yeah,
taught me is that you can't just sit there and be like, well, this is a problem. I'm not getting this. You have to like do something about it. You need
yeah,
to take a step. And if that step is every day you're researching on how to do what you got to do, that's how I got to where I got. I had to, when I opened my business, I was like, I'm going to research every single aspect of running a business like this from back to forward. I want to know what needs to be done first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and start actually taking those steps to do so. But don't skip because one part's a little scary and maybe you're not ready
or a
for
little
it
expensive.
or
Yeah,
too expensive, right? Don't skip it. It's the step for a reason. Just
yeah,
take a step back. Okay, I need to be patient. I need to wait maybe a month before I take this next step. Do what you
absolutely.
can do until you can do that. Do research, learn about your audience, talk to people, go out, make connections, do what you got to do. See who is excited about what it is that you're doing. You know what I mean? But you
Yeah,
have to right to take that first step or nothing's going to change. And it's scary. It's a small
absolutely.
business.
It's
It's really
especially
scary.
now with it so much after the pandemic. I think it's
And
swarm
the
of
competition.
businesses.
Yeah. And the
It's
competition, the comparison too is
yeah,
it'll eat at you if you don't have someone taking you out of it and being like, nope, just focus on yourself. Just those are different
absolutely,
focus. So I
absolutely.
agree with you.
Well, thank you, Mara, for doing this with me and
You're
just being
welcome.
here and just letting people know that, you know what, it's okay to have an idea and it's okay to not be, the right person. But what's not okay is just you skipping over the right steps are going to get you to where you literally dream of. So the reason why you started your business. So tell us where we can find you.
Oh, you can find me on Instagram at Zenith Creative Co. _. You can find me on Facebook as Zenith Creative Co. You can find me on TikTok as Zenith Creative Co. You can find me all over, except I don't have a Twitter or anything like that. But also you can find me on Pinterest as Zenith Creative Co. I'm very open. I love starting conversations. You don't need to pay money to have a discovery call with me if you just have questions. My job is to lift other small businesses up. We're a community. We're not competitive. We're here. If I can't help you, I'll direct you to someone who can. That's the whole point. It's just helping each other get to where we need to be. So I'm all about building a community. So reach out to me on any of those platforms.
Awesome. And don't worry, guys. I'm gonna put this on all her links on the show notes. Okay.
Yeah, drop my
Damn,
link.
I didn't get that. For sure. All right, girl. So it was very nice talking to you, and see you on the flip side.
See you on the flip side.
All right, how do I stop recording this thing? Forgot. Where is it?
That is too
You think I
funny.
could just no, seriously. Oh, stop.